Is Teacher Moody. I wanted to do something today for you. As you know, we have been trying to study, or I have been teaching you tenses. Today, I want to do it in a little bit different way. I think this is the easiest way, okay, of understanding any English tense, okay, and um, it's just a way of you understanding what is it that you need to use. Okay, you can study any tense. You can find out all the characteristics of that tense, or you can also get your the formula for that tense. But if you don't really actually know what or how to use it, it's always going to be a big problem. So I decided that to break it to help you guys to actually understand and make it easy for you to apply it in a normal conversation. Okay, so today I want to start with a present simple. So when we talk about present simple, you always need to understand in what situation do we use present simple. Okay, and it is actually very simple. Okay, because present simple is actually used to express habitual behavior. Okay, when I say habitual behavior, I'm talking about things that happen in a habit. Okay, things that happen in a normal timing. Okay, that means this thing keep happening again and again and again. So it's not something that happen once in a while. It's something that keep happening. Okay, and it happen in an interval, a certain type of interval. For example, let's take an example. Our example. Let's use a sun. Okay, the sun. Okay, the sun has a lot of actions. There are a lot of things that are going on, but we have things that the sun always does. Okay, the sun always rise, and the sun always rise, and the sun always set. Okay, so if you look at these things, these are things that happen all the time. So if you want to express this action, okay, or this activity of the sun, you will always have to use present simple. Okay, so now we know how we use present simple. We use it to talk about habit, to talk about things that are always true. Okay, things that are always true. Because if I tell you that the sun rises, okay, every morning, this is actually true. Okay, if you want to verify this information, you can actually get up tomorrow morning a little bit early before the sun rise, and then you look at your east. Okay, you will realize that the sun is actually rising, and it's always true. So that's one clue. So habitual or true statement. Okay, so present simple is used in those situations. Okay, so you now know the use of present simple. But somebody is probably asking, okay, so what is present simple? Present simple is a tense. Okay, so in present simple, most of the time, okay, we use our verb. The verb, verb. Okay, a verb is an action. A verb is something that actually is performed by the subject in a sentence. So we have two types of verbs. We have auxiliary verb and we have main verb. But main verb is also subcategorized into two, which is it skipped me a little bit, but okay, thank you. It just came back. We're talking about main verb is divided in two groups, which is regular and irregular. So whatever the subclassification of a verb it is, okay, we're talking about main verbs. Okay, you always need to know your verb in present simple. It can only be in two forms. It can only be in infinitive form, or it can be in, you can change it. When we talk about infinitive, we're talking about the verb stays the same. The verb does not change. What does that mean? Okay, the verb does not change. It means that if the verb is in, for instance, a verb cook, the verb cook is in infinitive form. So that verb, we are not going to change it. We're going to keep it the way it is. Okay, or we can change our verb, okay, and add s or es, okay, to the verb. For example, cook become cooks. But why? Why do we have to change it? We have to change it because of the subject. So it depends on the subject. And most of the time, I normally like to use these subjects. Okay, the subjects that I normally like to use in order for you to actually understand, okay, the tenses is personal pronouns. I use personal pronouns because they always work as a subject in your sentence. So it depends on what is your subject. So let's say we have 7 subjects. Okay, we have the first one is going to be I. Okay, the second you, the third we, the fourth is gonna be we. Okay, so all these 4 personal pronouns, which we call them, we also call them, according to structure, English structure, we call them subjects. Okay, all these subjects, we have to, okay, keep our verb unchanged. Our verb will remain the same. The verb will stay the same. The verb does not change. The verb, in simple way, we say the verb remain in infinitive form. So if the subject is I, the verb cook will stay cook. So you say I cook. You cook. They cook. We cook. But if you use the subject he, she, and it, in other words, he, she, and it, they are all called third person singular. Okay? In third person singular, what do? Third person singular, we have to change our verb. The main verb has to change. You have to either add s or es, depending on the type of on that particular verb. So we have seen that our verbs will be changed or will only stay the same. So what does this mean? It means that in present simple, okay, you have an option of leaving the verb the way it is if, okay, your subject allow you. So if your subject is I, you, we, or they, your verb is allowed to stay the same. That means you cannot change your verb. But if the verb or if the subject does not allow you to keep the verb the same, which is if your verb, if your subject is either he, she, or it, you always have to make sure that your verb change. Okay, you have to change your verb by either adding s or es. Okay, so that is how you make a sentence in present simple. So what happens is your verb change or your verb stay the same depending on the subject. Okay, excuse me. So we continue. So somebody's asking me, how do you make a question in present simple? In present simple, we have things called auxiliary verb. auxiliary verb is also called helping verb. Okay, so this auxiliary verb, so in present simple, you have to remember there is two auxiliary verbs, which is do and does. Okay, so this auxiliary verb, which is also considered the same thing, but they change because of the subject again. Okay, so the subject I, the subject you, the subject they, the subject we. Okay, accept do as auxiliary verb. So if you have to use auxiliary verb, you have to have your subject has to be he, your subject has to be I, you, we, and they. But does go with subject she, he, and it. So if you have he, it's gonna be he does. Okay, she does, it does, I do, they do, we do. Okay, you do. Okay, but always remember one thing: if you're asking a question now, you always need to start with an auxiliary verb, which is, in this case, because we are studying present simple, our auxiliary verb will be do or does. So if you're asking somebody, okay, and remember, when you're asking a question in present simple, your main verb does not change. Okay, for example, if you want to say that the sun does, you're asking somebody to tell you or to confirm if the sun rises every day. Okay, you're going to say, does the sun rise every day? Do you speak English? Do they talk to you? Do they understand English? Okay, etc. So it depends on the subject, and you know that do go with I, subject you, subject they, and subject we. Does go with subject he, subject she, subject he. Very good. But when you are actually answering the question, for instance, somebody is asking you, do you go to school? You have to answer that question, okay, because the question is in present simple. You have to use present simple to answer the question. How do you answer? Okay, do you go to school? Your answer will be, yes, I do go to school. If somebody asks you, does she go to school? You say, yes, she does go to school. Very simple, isn't it? Okay, so let's go to something else that you should know. When you're answering a question in a negative way, that means you are denying, or you are refusing, or you are not accepting, okay, what has been asked. You don't want to be positive. Okay, if you say no, that means you are negative. Your answer is negative. So, if your answer is negative, okay, does become doesn't. Do become don't. Okay, or does become does not. Do becomes doesn't. Okay, so in that case, for instance, if somebody asks you, does she go to school? If you answer positive, you will say, yes, she does go to school. If you're denying, or you're refusing, or you are negative, you will say, she does not go to school. Okay, that's very simple, right? Okay, so if you do that, then you will be on your way to be speaking present simple in a very best way you can. I'm not saying that you're going to be perfect, but you're going to be absolutely good. You're going to be able to command present simple. You're going to be able to ask a question. You're going to be able to inquire your friend's habits. For instance, you will be able to ask your friend in a very nice way if they have a habit of going to a club. You will say, do you go to clubs? Okay? That means you are asking for his or her habit. Okay? That's why we say is used for habitual. Okay? Yes. I think this is the end of our program. Okay? Again, is your friend or your teacher or somebody who is actually trying to do what he can to help friends to understand as best as they can. So guys, I wanted to do this because a lot of people ask me, how do you make these formulas? I don't make formulas. What I do is try to break them and try to make sure that you understand the shortest way possible. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I hope to see you guys soon. Don't forget to prepare yourself for the debate next Wednesday. Okay, I want to sign off by saying hi to Midle, Sharif, and Osman. Guys, I've been trying to reach you, and I'm sure very soon I'll be able to contact you. Thank you very much, and I hope all is well.